Hello, this is Dinah Lane for the Harwich Channel, and I'm here with Amy Uzowski from the Harwich Conservation Commission, the conservation agent, in fact, correct?
Correct.
And Michael Lott from the Harwich Conservation Trust, which is a private entity in the town. And I thought it would be useful because there are so many questions about what different groups do for conservation. There are lots and lots of efforts occurring, but the question is who does what? And I know there's a lot of overlap, so I wanted to get Amy and Mike in here to talk a little bit about what each of their organizations do, and then talk about how they collaborate as well. So Amy, can we start with you?
Sure.
You are representative from the town here.
Yes.
For conservation efforts. And can you just describe what the Conservation Commission does and your department as well? Because you're the agent, and then there's a volunteer commission as well,
Correct.
which I know needs members.
We do, and we'll tell you all about that and how you can get involved.
Yes, because I think people will be very interested in doing that.
Yeah. It is really interesting. We have our fingers in a lot of things. And so the Conservation Commission is a board of 7 volunteer members with 2 alternates. And they're in charge of upholding the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Harwich Wetlands Protection Bylaw. So essentially, any property owner that is near a wetland, and wetlands don't have to be wet, they can be sand dunes, they can be coastal banks or your salt marshes. Anybody who's in that or within 100 feet of it, or in the flood zone, or near the Herring River within 200 feet of the river, their property falls under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission and the Mass Department of Environmental Protection for the Wetlands Protection Act. So whether you want to tear down and rebuild your home, build a dock, do some view pruning, all those things, if they're within those specific areas, have to be approved by myself, my assistant agent, or the commission if it's a bigger project. And we have different levels of application. So the Conservation Commission looks at those larger projects, those demo and rebuilds of homes, those dock projects, and assesses them to see how they meet or don't meet the state and local bylaws and regulations. The Conservation Commission in my department is also responsible for managing and maintaining over 1,000 acres of conservation land. And the Conservation Trust, we have separate parcels, but a lot of the times, most of the times, restrictions are held by one or the other. So there's joint collaboration and management of a lot of our conservation lands in town. We have a wonderful volunteer corps. If you're interested in volunteering to do some hard manual labor, and I say hard, but it can be easy too.
And it's fun.
And it's really fun.
Everyone I know who's done that kind of thing has really enjoyed it.
Yep. They should contact me.
Like clearing out herring runs, for instance.
Clearing out herring runs, thinning out brush, removal of invasive species, things like that. And in addition, so I'm the staff person to the Conservation Commission.
Yes.
And I look at those applications I was talking about, just getting back to the applications.
Yes.
I look at those applications and review them under the regulatory scope and make recommendations to the commission.
I see.
But it's a democratic process, and they will vote how they see fit and their interpretation of the laws.
And can you tell us a little bit about what the commissioners need to do to become commissioners?
Absolutely.
Because I know you are seeking, how many people do you need on the commission right now?
We can hold up to 7 full commissioners. Currently we have 4. We also have 2 alternate positions open, which is a great learning ground.
So that's a total of 9.
We can have a total of 9. Yep.
Okay. So you could use 5 more.
We could use
which
5.
Would be great.
Yep. Alternates cannot vote, but they can participate. They have all the information that the other commissioners have. They can do site visits.
So it's a way to learn.
It is a way to learn.
The work.
We are really pushing for full-time members because right now we are having an issue with quorum. And what I mean by full-time is it's not a full-time position. This is volunteer.
Right.
We meet 2 evenings a month, and you have a little bit of homework on the side with the plans that you have to review that I've reviewed for you as well. But if people are involved, they do not have to have a background in conservation. You really just need to have an interest. We have the best board is made up by people, in my opinion, from various backgrounds. and different ways of thinking. So just because you don't have a biology degree, if you're interested, please contact us. You can go to the town website administration page and fill out a citizen activity form. Or you can also just contact me and I will put you and give you that form and put you in touch. Yeah, the problem is we don't have enough members. And right now, if one of my members cannot make it, we have to cancel a meeting because we don't have a quorum.
And then people's projects are put on hold.
And then people's projects
so
get put on hold.
It's a really important commission.
It is really important.
Yeah.
And
because it's mandated by law.
It is mandated by law.
You have to have it. Yep. Okay.
We have to have it.
Okay. And it's a great committee, and I think the people who are on it are doing a wonderful job, and they would like some help, right?
We would love some help.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much, Amy. So, Mike, can you talk a little bit about your more private organization, which really spans the whole town of Harwich, and I know you do a lot of public-private partnerships too.
Yes, so. Dinah, thanks for the invitation. This is a great idea to explain the differences between Town of Harwich Conservation Department and Conservation Commission.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And the nonprofit Harwich Conservation Trust. So, nonprofit Harwich Conservation Trust is, as you pointed out, not affiliated with town government, but we often collaborate, and we're working together often on securing funds to acquire more conservation land for the public, to protect the coastal waters, ponds, drinking water supply, provide more trails and scenic views. We're often working together once we acquire those lands to take care of them. So as Amy pointed out, she has volunteers that join the town. Harwich Conservation Trust has a volunteer corps. We share volunteers that work for both the town and Harwich Conservation Trust. We also work collaboratively with the town with AmeriCorps.
That's right.
Both group AmeriCorps projects and individual members that serve with the town for about 11 months and Harwich Conservation Trust for 11 months. So,
and then they often become conservation agents or work in the conservation business.
Actually, you have an AmeriCorps alum right here.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go. For example.
Good point.
Prime example.
Yes. So a lot of cooperation to protect the shared natural resources, the land, water, wildlife that everybody appreciates in town. And then in addition, Harwich Conservation Trust works directly with landowners who want to see their vision of protection persist on through time. And so we'll explain their land conservation options, any tax advantages that might be associated with landowners preserving their lands with the nonprofit Harwich Conservation Trust. And then we'll also hold workshops and talks and walks, some of which are led by Amy and Conservation Department affiliated folks, whether it's at Thompson's Field or other town-owned conservation lands. So again, a lot of cooperation.
You all work so well together. Yes.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Yeah. And then I know there's also, just briefly, if we could talk about the Natural Resources Department, because there is a Natural Resources Department in town which collaborates too. And could you just say just a couple of words, because we don't have a representative today from there, but I think it's important to represent what they do as well.
So natural resources overlaps with conservation in a lot of ways, and also with management for Harwich Conservation Trust. The Natural Resources Department is physically located at Saquatucket Harbor with the harbor master, and they are in charge of the herring fisheries, maintaining herring runs, maintaining our shellfish lab, and seeding shellfish throughout the town, both for people to harvest as well as to help clean our waters. They are the Natural Resource Department advises the Conservation Commission in regards to fish and shellfish projects. And the Natural Resource Department also assists as part of the Harbor Masters Department.
Okay, all right. So I think we should also just briefly mention before we finish that there is a newly forming a Harwich Pond Coalition.
Correct.
Which is very exciting, and I imagine that they will be collaborating with both of you and trying to do their best to help the health of the ponds in
Yes.
town. And there's quite a lot of interest in that group. So that's going to be a new wonderful thing for the town to be
Absolutely.
utilizing. So
It is, and if folks are looking for more resources about the new Harwich Pond Coalition, or a recent article about the differences between town conservation department, conservation commission, natural resources department, and the nonprofit Harwich Conservation Trust, they can visit the Harwich Conservation Trust website.
because you have done an analysis of those,
Yes,
is that right? That's
I've
wonderful.
written an article about it. Harwich
In the
Conservation
newsletter,
Trust.
is it in your newsletter?
It's actually on the website.
On-
Was
on
in the
the webs-
newsletter,
yes.
and then we
Okay.
also posted it on our website.
Great.
So harwichconservationtrust.org.
Okay.
Go to the news tab,
Excellent.
and you'll find that
Excellent.
article. And if folks want to learn more about the
Mm-hmm.
new wonderful Harwich Pond Coalition evolving, they can visit our Priority Ponds project. There'll be a link for Harwich
Oh,
Pond Coalition.
great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, it's all about collaboration here in
It
Harwich.
sure is.
And I'm very proud and happy to be a member of the town. So thank you so much for coming in
Thank you, Dinah.
and
Thank you,
talking
Dinah.
about your work. And also, just remember, we need commissioners for the Conservation Commission. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This is Amy Uzowski and Michael Locke, and I'm Dinah Lane for the Harwich Channel. Thank you so much.